All right, let's discuss Sanders' comments and what the other candidates had to say with a director at the Middle East Political Information Network, Eric Mandel, and Shai Franklin, Middle East analyst and partner at Gotham Government Relations. Welcome to you both. Eric, let's start with you here in studio. As we just showed you, Sanders calling Netanyahu a racist and saying he may reconsider the president's move to declare Israel the capital, Jerusalem the capital of Israel, or at least the U.S.'s recognition thereof. What would a Sanders presidency mean for Israel?
Well, imagine that today Sanders was president and the United Nations was bringing the infamous Zionism is racism resolution. I think that a Sanders administration would be in favor of supporting Zionism as racism, not withdrawing it. This is a man who calls Bibi Netanyahu a racist, but champions people like Maduro from Venezuela, Corbyn, even when he was blatantly anti-Semitic, where even allies were running away from the Labour Party, he was considered an anti-Semite. And then you look at the core of the people that he allows to be spokespersons for him, from Linda Sarsour, from Ilhan Omar, from Tlaib, and many others. They're beyond anti-Israel critics.
So do you think it's fair to say that he would be severely detrimental to Israel's security interests?
He could destroy the U.S.-Israel relationship, but more importantly, his isolation could profoundly endanger American national security.
All right, Shai, we did know that Sanders has recently said that he could impose conditions on the military aid that the U.S. gives to Israel, 70% of which must be used back in the U.S., by the way, and goes to bolster U.S. defense industries. If you're a Jewish voter and you care about Israel, is Sanders a problematic candidate?
I happen to be a Jewish voter. I happen to care about Israel, as does Eric. Yeah, you know, it's problematic, but I would say two-thirds to three-quarters of American Jews feel that on many levels, Donald Trump is not acceptable as president, and they're going to be voting for whoever the Democratic nominee is, and they will be voting in a much higher proportion than other Americans. I think in the Democratic primaries, what we're going to see in California, particularly in New York in April, California is next week, the primary, Illinois, Florida, of course, we're going to see that Jewish voters are going against Bernie Sanders. So that will impact him. Why he chose to make his views so extra clear right now, I don't know. I don't think he's going to gain any votes because of it. Anybody who sympathizes with that point of view is already probably voting for Bernie Sanders.
Interesting. Well, Michael Bloomberg is the other Jewish candidate, and here's how he replied to the same question of moving the U.S. embassy out of Jerusalem. Let's watch.
You can't move the embassy back. We should not have done it without getting something from the Israeli government, but it was done, and you're going to have to leave it there. Number two, the only solution here is a two-state solution. The Palestinians have to be accommodated. The real problem here is you have two groups of people, both of who think God gave them the same piece of land. And the answer is to obviously split it up, leave the Israeli borders where they are, try to push them to pull back some of those extra on the other side of the wall, where they've built these new communities, which they should not have done that. Pull it back.
All right, Eric, if you're a Democrat and you're not going to vote for Trump no matter what, which Democratic candidate is the best if Israel is one of your top voting criteria?
Well, I think Mike Bloomberg probably is, although we just heard him make quite a few mistakes in that little take. He talked about Israel's borders. It's not a border. That was the 49 armistice line. And I don't think Mayor Bloomberg took a look at today's poll that came out that said 66% of West Bank Palestinians said that nothing, they want to have river to the sea as the country. This is not about dividing up. If it was about dividing it up, this would have been done already.
So you think Bloomberg is the top choice? Shai, very quickly, if you had to choose a Democratic candidate and Israel is your top issue, who's the candidate to choose from the current crop?
So, full disclosure, I have chosen a candidate. I've chosen Joe Biden. I think that Biden has been pro-Israel his entire life. Obviously, Mike Bloomberg has. But Biden has also shown that he can work with the Senate. Obviously, he can work with foreign leaders, and that's what Israel needs.
All right, Shai, thank you so much. Shai Franklin, Eric Mandel, appreciate it, and we'll be right back. Keep it here.